Hello everyone, this is Nocturne and welcome back to some more Minecraft. Well, before we get started today, I did kinda want to take a chance and apologize for not having anything new to you guys for about 2 weeks now. Um, some real life stuff came up and I'll probably go into a little more detail about that in a channel update I'm going to be putting out here in a few days. But suffice to say, things came up and I just well, it wasn't really timing, more of a I just kind of lost the will, the drive to be playing, and I didn't want to force myself to play because I knew that was going to come out in the recording, so I wanted to make sure when we were doing this together that I was in the mood for it and going, yeah, Minecraft, woohoo! Anyway, now that we got that out of the way and some lovely music starting, let's go ahead and start this episode. So, I am finally ready to start getting into Buildcraft and power management and machines and all sorts of cool stuff with farming and just all the great things that come with that. Although you may have just noticed over my right shoulder, Zach has left us a little bit of a present. It's kind of alluding to something that's going to be going on in the future, and I'll probably be talking about that here in a few minutes, but I heard you need some diamonds. I haven't looked into this. I've actually been waiting almost 2 weeks to open this chest myself, so I'm kind of curious too. Ooh, that will indeed help us out a lot. Very nice. One thing to note about the texture here, you might see a similar texture over here. Diamond chest. I'm not going to open it, there's a good reason for that, so for the moment, I'll stick it right there. And we'll come back to it in a bit. That's amongst the things I'm going to be talking about. But in this episode, like I said, I want to get into doing some Buildcraft. And I spent a little time yesterday trying to figure out what I want to do, how I want to go about organizing this stuff. And like I did for the Noc'Craft house, I spent a little time on Google trying to come up with some inspiration. And, well, here it is. You guys can kind of see in the picture, it is a very, very industrial-looking piece of building. And my whole idea for this is that since we're going to be doing some very, well, I guess, industrial power generation, even though it's not industrial craft, it's Buildcraft, that something like that would actually be very appropriate. So you guys can kind of see we got the building, we got the little weird thing on top, and then we got the smokestacks in the background. Well, here, let me show you what I got sketched out a bit. This is what we got so far. And this is going to be the main building here. You can see I mapped out all the corners. Was playing around a little bit with the walls. These are the funky things on top. I'm not entirely sure. They almost seem like cooling towers or something for whatever's going on the inside. And here, you can see I started playing around a bit with what to do with the smokestacks. We are, of course, going with some Red Power 2 microblocks. Very fancy. And I think it worked out pretty nicely using the slabs and then the, I'm going to say panel strips. Because I think the slab strips would have been too thick. Unless those are slab strips. Actually, they probably are, considering it looks to be exactly half. Either way, I'm going to be doing this, and this little cobblestone over here is kind of mapping out where I'm going to do the other one. So we're going to have that going on. And, well, you might notice that we are kind of bumping right into the rubber tree farm. And that's okay. I actually am planning on chopping this guy down. And I might even do a little bit right now. Like this one right here. I end up putting a torch on any of the ones that I happen to notice seem to have lost their resin spots. And no longer need to exist. So, using our amazing axe of the stream, we can just clear that right out. And this guy back here, even though he actually has a resin spot way up top, and all the times I've tried, I was never, ever able to reach the thing, so he's going to. And you may have noticed that one chopped down a little bit faster. That's something I forgot to mention when we first made this, that if you hold down right-click, it'll actually chop down twice as fast, but it'll actually end up using twice as much charge. But fortunately, since we got the Repair 2 enchant on there, it's all good. So I think I'm actually going to wipe out... actually, let me go and get the tree tapped. It feels like a bit of a waste to just chop it with the resin spots already filled up. So, Grab this guy. Head on back out. Yay, didn't get trapped in the door this time. Those wonderful SMP glitches. Tap these guys real quick. Yep, that's that one. Chop this guy down, holding right click, and I'll try and back up a little. You guys can watch this a little better. That's so nice. And especially with the whole axe of the stream, doesn't matter how far back you are, it comes right to you. A little more here. That one. I think it was only 2 on this guy too. And chop that guy down. And don't worry, we're not really wasting these trees. There's something else too that, once again, I meant to mention to you guys when we first started covering this topic, but you can actually get resin out of the logs themselves. So just like you do with the actual resin itself, toss this guy back where he belongs. You can take the logs and stick them right into the compressor. Oh, no, not the compressor. What am I thinking? Extractor. But sort of like when we were smelting the sticky resin in the ovens, the furnaces over here, you only get 1 rubber each. But that's not bad, considering, you know, we had to chop the trees down anyway. It's nice we can actually get something out of them. So, now that we got that first row out of the way, missed one. And I'll leave this one on because I want to show you guys what happens when you do chop down one that actually has a resin spot on it. Maybe it doesn't work with axe of the stream. I think if you do use a regular axe and you actually chop a block that has a resin spot on it, it'll actually pop the resin, but only 1 resin off for you to use later. But, you know, just kind of FYI there. So what are we going to do with this big old industrial room to be working on Buildcraft? Well, we're actually going to be getting into something that I have never myself done in all of my time playing modded Minecraft, and we are going to make ourselves an oil refinery. Ooh, yeah. You guys may have remembered or noticed some of the little strange black spouts of fluid all around the world. There's actually one over there, but we'll get to that in a second. Well, those are oil, and we need to be able to tap those wells and do something with them to refine them into glorious, glorious fuel, which we can then go and put in some combustion engines, just like the real world, and start generating some amazing Buildcraft power. And I've kind of mapped out the room inside a little bit. These right here are going to be our oil refineries. And over here, I'm thinking these 2 rows are going to be our Buildcraft machines. I'm actually going to keep them separate. I'm not going to put all the machines in the main house. I figure the closer to the power generation, the better. So we're going to do that. And as far as design choices go, the cobble is obviously just for me to be sketching around with. So I was playing around a little bit, and since we're going for a very industrial theme again, I thought it would be kind of cool to have some metal blocks as like girders and supports going through as the corners. So like this vertical one, and then this horizontal one on all the sides. But I couldn't quite make up my mind with what material exactly I wanted to use. I was thinking, you know, it's metal support, iron girders. That would be awesome. But, well, this one's iron. The only problem is it takes 9 pieces of iron to make this, as everyone knows, and that's a bit more iron than I'm willing to spend. And then I thought, you know, there's those refined iron blocks, the machine blocks we get from IC2, and that's these 2 guys here. And that's only 8, so that's not bad, and currently my favorite, to be honest. But again, that's a lot of iron we don't really have. And then it struck me, you know, we have a ton of copper. So what if we try that instead? And it's not bad. It's, like I said, it's not my favorite, but it works. And we've got, well, tons of it. And I don't know. I will leave it to you guys. I will probably build it out of copper now because that's what I have. But in a few episodes, when I've heard back from you guys about what you think, we will try and work on that. Swapped out anyway, because, you know, wand of equal trade, we can just emerald good. Which is kind of what I plan on doing with the cobblestone anyway. Now, as far as the walls, I was originally going to go with stone brick, which is not bad, but I don't know. It's so... not a lot of color, I think, really, is my main complaint with it. It's not really very industrial in my mind right now. I mean, I was thinking maybe we could do the... oh, Black Flame. We could do maybe the concrete blocks from IC2, but again, that's very one color. And here, let me pull those up for you real quick. They're not bad looking. Actually, I think concrete's Buildcraft on second thought, which would make sense because he adds walls for most of his blocks, and that's a Buildcraft thing. But the problem is we need rebar for that, and to make rebar we need either some advanced GregTech materials, which we are not quite ready for that. GregTech is super advanced IC2, as I've explained in the past. Or we're going to need a rolling machine, which requires the exact power that this entire building is going to be made for. So that's not really an option, even though it's not a bad looking color. It's sort of stone blocks with a bit more texture to it. I almost feel like spawning a few in just to show you guys, but you can go ahead and check them out in your own worlds. So I thought, you know what might look cool, and it has some nice texture to it, is regular bricks. The original bricks. And while I do like the texture here, I'm not sure how well it clashes with these guys. So again, I will wait to hear back from you guys. I might go ahead and make it out of this and just see what it looks like, but I'm going to need to be doing a lot of crafting off screen to get all that clay. Like we did before for some Thaumcraft necessities, some essentia, I'm probably going to do the flint to clay transmutation with a minium stone, and you'll notice I actually broke the old one, so this is the new one. So we're finally on our second minium stone. We are making progress in this world. Woohoo! Anyway, I think that's enough about how we're going to be going with this. I'm actually going to go ahead and construct this off camera in between this episode and the next one, at least as much of it as I can, because we've had plenty of building recently, so I'm going to go ahead and take care of that off camera. So first off, what we're going to need to do is find a way to tap that oil well. And then, of course, we're going to need a way to get the oil from way over there. I don't even know if we can see it on the map yet. No, probably not. Maybe if we walk over to the cow farm, we can see that. I don't want to walk all the way over there. But let's see. There should be a river... oh, nope, you can't see it. But anyway, just kind of over this ridge and past the meadow that's there, there's a river, and right up that river is the oil that I think I pointed out actually back in episode 1 or 2 when I was trying to also point out some of those beehives and got chased away by like 5 skeletons or whatever it was. But anyway, we are going to need a way to get it from all the way over there back to our oil and fuel power generation station. And for that, we are going to turn to ender storage. Very much similar to the ender chests of vanilla Minecraft, it's great for transporting objects from one part of the world to the other, but with ender storage, you've actually got color combinations that you can use to have, well, a very, very large number of them. And if you're willing to spend the diamond on it, you can have private, I guess you could say, color frequencies for yourself, so they operate very much like the vanilla chests. But again, since you can color code them, you could have, let's see, there's 3 color combination possibilities, which leaves you with what? Well, let's just say a lot. So it's great, because you got 3 color combination possibilities with 16 colors. That's something like 3 cubed times 16, and what, 27 times 16? So, you know, you've got a lot of options for things to do, which is great when it comes to moving things from across the world. But, like ender chests, they're just for items. But with some of the latest editions of ender storage, we also have the ender tank for fluids. Perfect. This is exactly what we're going to need. And I think I'm going to go over here and see if I can't snag myself a couple red dye, because we're going to do a little bit of transmutation. A little bit of a shortcut here. I grabbed some white wool, but I just realized that my frequency on this server happens to be black. So, what's great about the ender chest when you craft them is... still a visual bug there, I'm not really sure what's up with that. If you craft them with the colored wool of your choice, they're automatically dyed that color. So, let me grab up these items here, because we're going to need all of them, to make ourselves the ender tank, as I just showed you. So, not the button I meant to press. Get some blaze rods around the corners, some ender pearls on the bottom, our black wool up top, obsidian on the sides, and some cauldrons in the middle. Gets us 2 ender tanks, and you'll note it's already black on top. And if you can't, you can notice that it's already got a damage value. That's basically letting you know that all 3 are black. Now, if you didn't have black wool, or whatever wool you wanted to use to make these, it's okay. That was really just a shortcut for crafting. What you could do if you wanted instead... Let's see, where are my dyes? Let's grab a yellow one just for fun. And a bit wasteful, but for demonstration purposes, well worth it. You can actually come up to the tank itself, and you actually get a selection box on these individual things, and bam! You can color code it in the world. But since we don't actually want that, I'm going to put it back. And if we take a look at the ender tank, it's just a really awesome looking thing. It's just leaps and bounds better than the vanilla one, which is awesome, and obviously inspired by the original ender chest of the mod world. Just some amazing things you can get here. And so what we're going to do is I'm actually going to go ahead and walk out over to our oil spawn over here. And I think while we do this, even though it's not far, I'm going to go ahead and talk about that thing I mentioned that I'd be talking about in a few minutes right now. A couple weeks ago, the last time I actually got a chance to sit down and record, we actually did a nice big server thing. And you can see the oil right there. We did a big kind of server function. We all got together, found some really big caves, and we had a nice bit of, well, a lot of fun caving together. And so we're actually going to have about 3 episodes of that coming up soon, and I wanted to be able to talk to you guys and let you know that was coming up beforehand, otherwise I would have already uploaded them. And what I think I'm going to be doing with them is actually alternating episodes between Buildcraft and our caving episodes, and they're actually already edited up and ready to go. So as soon as I get this episode done for tonight, we'll be able to go ahead and start getting into that. So look forward to that next episode, and the one after that we'll go ahead and obviously be back here working on our Buildcraft oil and whatnot, and so on and so forth until we've had all our caving fun. And I might even afterwards go ahead and show you guys what it looks like post us mining the crap out of the place. So anyway, get back up there. There you go. This, as I said, is our Buildcraft oil spawn, and it's kind of cool looking. Black water, black gold, really. If you look, it actually kind of goes down here, and I don't want to go all the way down because that actually goes down quite a ways. One of the ways to tell how great of a oil well you've actually got spawned at the bottom, because that's what happens. They actually spawn way down in the ground, and then the oil spout is generated all the way up to the surface. So the way to know how big your well is how far up the spout goes, and you'll notice we're at about 74 at our head when we jump. So it's not a very big one. So if it's close to sea level, which I think is 64, it's not very big. We've got some on the server that I think go up to, I think the old build limit, really, 128 or higher. So those are some huge ones. So this one's not going to last us a long time, but it will certainly last us plenty of time. And I think over here, I did take a little time to light up the area you can see on the map. So, I was thinking I was going to build a little wall here just in case. A little room that we can have a little privacy. And I think I'll actually go ahead and finish this off camera real quick and be right back. Okay, so very simple, just a little bit of walls, you know, just in case some skeletons or whatnot decide to walk up on us as we're doing this, they can't just snipe us too easily. And they're really just temporary. I'll be taking it down when we're done. So now that we've got our ender tanks, we've got somewhere to store them, but we still need a way to actually tap this well and pump all the oil out. Well, for that, we are going to need, well, a pump. And to make a pump, you're going to need to get yourself some iron, and you're going to need to get yourself an iron pick, but you're also going to need to get something new from Buildcraft that we haven't seen yet, since we haven't really touched at all on Buildcraft, and you're going to need some gears. First off, wood gear. Very simple, 4 sticks and, I guess you could say a circle. Gets you a wood gear. But we're going to need more than just a wood gear for our pump. We're going to need to upgrade this guy to a cobblestone gear. And then from a stone gear, we're actually going to need to upgrade him one more time to an iron gear. Now that we have our iron gear, we can put this guy down. And actually, I believe I actually forgot to grab some redstone, so, yep, 1 second. Okay. Got us a nice stack of redstone. What we're going to need now is to take our iron gear. We're going to need to place some iron here on the sides, put an iron pick on the bottom, and some redstone on top, and this gets us a mining well. That's not a pump, Nocturne. What are you doing? Well, it's the first ingredient we need, and it'll make sense in a bit. A mining well is a very basic machine in Buildcraft that will actually do, well, some mining for you. Give it some power, it'll dig down to bedrock as long as you provide it some mining pipes. I believe some of these, which a little expensive. Oh, nope, those are the industrial craft ones. You can tell because of the tree tap. Never actually used a mining well, so I don't remember which ones they are, but you definitely need some sort of mining apparatus pipe. Something I can look up a little later, or leave in a little footnote for you guys on the screen right now. Anyway, what we're going to need to do is, now that we've got a mining well, we need to turn this into something that can actually handle liquids. And for that, we're going to need a liquid chest, or at least that's how you craft it. We're going to need a tank. Holds liquids, works really well. One of the original fluid holders of Minecraft. Place it in the world, you can pump liquids in and out of it. Looks pretty cool. And you can just pop it up with any sort of pick. Anyway, what we're going to need to do with this, though, is take the mining well and put the tank on top, and now the well has a way of storing some liquid, which, you know, that's cool, makes sense. It's nice when the crafting recipes make sense. And now we have ourselves the pump. And we can actually go ahead and place it in the world, and you can see it's got somewhere it can actually start doing things. You know, now that I think about it, I think the mining well of Buildcraft doesn't need them, but the miner of Industrial Craft did need those pipes, so you may not need that. Again, I will be checking afterwards when I'm editing up. So, that little hole is where we're going to have our pump come out, but what we're going to need to do first is position him, of course, right over our well. And so for that, let's go up one more. Drop this guy right here on top. That should be good. Actually, let's go up one more. I wanted you guys to be able to see this. Drop our pump right on top, and you can actually see it should detect there's fluid, and the pump arm, I guess, comes out and will actually start to, I believe, suck up the very first source block, which when it comes to oil wells, from the well at the bottom all the way up to the top right here is actually all source blocks, which is awesome. So you can actually get a decent amount of oil out of that. But now that we've got the pump, it doesn't seem to be doing much of anything, and the source block actually isn't going away. So what do? Well, like all things in modded Minecraft lately, it needs power. Fortunately, we have an easy way of doing that, because it does require Buildcraft power, but there is a lovely introductory engine that Buildcraft comes with that we can go ahead and make right now. And for that, we're going to need to make a few more wooden gears. Fortunately, we only need the wood ones. And we place them just like this. Gears go on the side. We get some pistons in the middle. Place some glass in the center. This is the one part of the recipe I've never really fully understood when it comes to engines. And then place these on top, and this gets you this kind of little square piece under here. And that gets you the basic Redstone Engine. Apply a redstone signal, and it will generate, once it's sped all the way up, a full 1 Minecraft Joule per tick. Very, very slow, but it does the job. And like I said, it's a wonderful, great introductory way of getting power early on in the game. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and come over here, and I'm going to place down 1, 2, 3, and 4 right on top, because we're going to need a side access to actually get our fluid out. And so to take care of this, we come up here and do something so we can actually power them all. Don't need that one. Right there. And need a few sticks, because we need, let's make 8, that's plenty. Need some levers. Always good to have levers. I probably had some in my canvas bag, but that's okay. You can never have too many levers, usually, when it comes to playing with engines. And so we can go ahead and pop these guys here, and we can turn them on, and you can see them starting to work. Now they're moving really, really slow. Redstone engines do take a little while to speed up. And when, like I said, when they're at full speed, they'll generate 1 Minecraft Joule per tick. And the general consensus of the modded Minecraft community is 4 redstone engines is pretty much enough to run a pump at basically full speed. I think its max input is, I'm going to say, somewhere between 2 and 10 Minecraft Joules per tick, so it's not a whole lot. But this works pretty well, and you can see it actually went ahead and sucked up that first block, and it's got it in storage in, I guess technically you could think it's in that little tank that we used when we crafted the mining well with it. So this guy's going to be pumping away. Since this is the first time we're looking at engines, I'll go over this now. The way power is figured out with engines is when it first hits the object, so this little arm comes up and it hits the mining well, it's at that moment that power is actually transferred. So when this eventually speeds up, it's going to go a lot faster. It's going to go through a few different color states, and I'll probably go into details about those in a future episode. But just know that they'll speed up, they'll change colors, and they'll give us more power more quickly. Because it is technically giving us the 1 Minecraft Joule when it hits, it's just really kind of slow. But enough of that. We've got our pump powered. We're ready to actually start getting some oil, because we're actually getting really close to the end of this episode. And I wanted to make sure we at least have our oil going into one of the ender tanks before we end off today. So, oil pumping, ready to go. Now we need to stick it into our ender tank, which I'm going to stick right there. So we have our ender tank up here now, and you might notice it's got some colors on it. These are very similar to thermal expansion colors, as I explained at the end of a previous episode when I was talking about, I think, how I got all my smooth stone. If you go ahead and right-click on the little dial here, you'll note it actually rotates. Orange for output, blue for input, and whichever one on the top is the one you've got selected. And since we definitely want this to be how we get the oil in, we want it blue for input. So, now how do we go from here to here? We need some way of transferring that fluid, don't we? Indeed we do. So for that, we are going to need a pipe. All kinds of pipes. I think you saw them earlier here in NEI. Pipe. Pipe slash, nope, just pipe. Lots and lots of pipes. What we're going to need specifically are some waterproof pipes. And the general recipe for all pipes in this game through Buildcraft is piece of glass in the middle, and the type of pipe you want to make on the outside. And in this case, we're going to get some wooden transport pipes, but I'm going to actually go ahead and upgrade them to some waterproof pipes, because these guys will only transport items, not liquids. And you may also remember many episodes back I talked about how it was better to transmute my green dye rather than wasting cactus, because there's a very good use for it, and here it is. Cactus green turns into pipe waterproofing. This is what you need to do to apply to, I think I'm only going to do 2 right now, to your pipes, and you've now waterproofed your pipe. We're going to be making lots of pipes in the future, but these 2 should be plenty for now, and I think we just pop that guy down. Oh, uh-oh. Well, yay and uh-oh at the same time. We are getting oil out of our well. It's working! Hooray! But wait, why is it not going in here? This is a problem. and one that I think we may have to leave off for until next episode. Let me actually go check the time, and I'll figure that out real quick. It's a quick fix, so we may be able to take care of it right now. 1 second. Alright, yes, definitely we can take care of this real quick just before we end off today's episode. When it comes to Buildcraft pipes, the side that a pipe is directed towards is important. And in this case, with the wooden pipes, you can tell that this thicker part, the one where you don't really have the glass window, that is the input side. So, this pipe is actually backwards. So how do we do that? Well, just like we did with Buildcraft, we need to make a tool to help us manipulate these things. And in this case, it is yet another wrench, but in this case we need an iron gear, and we need to go ahead and make a Y like this, I believe. Just like that. Oh, stone gear. Phooey. Went and made an iron gear for nothing. Which, you know, actually that kind of makes sense. But fortunately, I have just enough sticks left to go ahead and craft up another stone gear. And now we can go ahead and make our wrench. And we can go ahead and give this guy a whack. And there we have it. We are getting fluid going into our tank. And it's going somewhere. Somewhere. Well, where's it going? We will have to wait until next episode to figure that out. Because, like I said, we are pretty much at the end of today's episode. I hope you guys really enjoyed this beginnings of our Buildcraft. You can notice that the Redstone Engines are starting to speed up. I'm not going to be doing any explanations at the end of today's episode. We might save that for in the future and kind of do a big wrap-up of all of them. Anyway, we are definitely getting started on our stuff here. You can see the oil is definitely starting to get pumped. The oil is going somewhere. Somewhere. We will definitely be figuring out what to do with all that later. We will definitely have to be doing some more crafting to figure out how to make sure things stay pumping. And we'll have to figure out how we're going to actually go about refining these things. But that won't be next episode, like I said. Next episode will be our first mining episode with, I think there were 6 of us for the first cave and 4 of us for the second cave. So it was a whole lot of fun, very exciting. I hope you guys are looking forward to it. I'm sure you'll enjoy it. Anyway, we will be back 2 episodes from now to continue working on this. So this has been Nocturne. Thank you for watching, and I will see you guys again next time.